Hello, this is Saki from Saki Tech. In today's video, I will show you over 50 tips and tricks for the Samsung Galaxy S6. This is an amazing phone and it is full of features. So whether you want to enhance your ownership or want to learn all about this phone in case you want to buy one, this is the video to watch and learn. So let's dive right in. Alright, so the first tip has to do with the camera. So what you can do is you can double tap the home screen from anywhere and it's going to quickly launch the camera. Now if you go into the settings, you can actually enable or disable this option by making sure quick launch is enabled. Now while we are in the camera, here's my favorite feature. What you want to do is you want to enable voice control. If you enable voice control, you can say certain things and that's going to allow you to take picture using your voice. So let's turn this off and on, and these are the things you can in fact do. You can say smile, cheese, capture, or shoot to take a picture, or simply say record video to record a video. So let's do a quick demonstration. Capture, smile, record video, and as you can see, it starts to record the video. So this is an absolutely fantastic feature for remote control of your camera using your voice. And the other few quick tips I want to give you about the camera, if you go back in the settings, you can enable or disable grid lines and also disable or enable video stabilization. So Samsung has made it very easy to tweak the settings of your camera, and they're right over here. Now one more thing I want to show you guys. On the top here, if you tap this icon, not the flash icon, let's turn that off, this one right here. It enables you to set a timer. So if you have a 5-second timer, you can say smile, and it's going to actually use the voice control and the timer in conjunction, which is even better. We will be talking more about the camera in a minute, but let's go on and show you some other things around the phone. Now here's one of my favorite features. If you go into messages, alrighty, you can go to more and you can go to settings. And from here you can change the background image of your text messages. So let's go back in here real quick. Let's go to AES. There's a test message. And as you can see, I have a certain background and a certain bubble speech. So both of these can be edited. So go to more, go to settings, go to backgrounds and bubbles, and from here you can pick a different background and a different bubble style. So let's go with this guy. Okay, if we go back, AES, this time what you're going to see is you're going to see the background you just picked up with a new bubble style. And while we are here, what else you can do is you can pinch the screen to decrease the size of the font, just like that, okay? Or you can actually pinch out and increase the size of the font in case it's hard to see. And then when you go back into the main screen of messaging screen, what I really like what they did was they added a quick access to most frequently contacted people that you want. So if you want to add anybody to the top here, you simply press plus and you pick anybody that you want. So let's just pick Alert Line over here. Click done, and that's going to show up on the top. So when I launch my messaging application, I can tap Alert Line and I can immediately start writing a message and just click send. Alrighty? And then let's say you want to disable the panel up here. Press and hold. Tap who you want to remove, tap that red bar, and then click done, and it's gone. But if you want to add the priority senders back, all you have to do is press plus or press X to make it disappear. And of course, if you want to bring that back up, go to more and tap on add priority senders again. The first thing I want to show you guys is if you pinch the screen, you can customize the screen. I'm sure a lot of you guys know how to do this. Now, a new feature that comes in with the S6 is you can change the screen grid size. So you can have a 4x4 screen, a 4x5 screen, or a 5x5 screen. If you do 5x5, it's going to allow you to add more apps all over the place. You can have 5 apps and 5 apps this way. You can do 4x5, or you can do 4x4 for maximum visibility. Now one thing that has annoyed a lot of people on these Samsung phones is what's called the briefing screen. So this is a Flipboard briefing screen. If you guys already use Flipboard, this is going to be perfect for you. If not, it might be a problem. So if you swipe to the right, the briefing screen comes right up. From here, you can tackle any news source that you want. And of course, if you go into settings, all these things are customizable. You can enable or disable specific categories. Now, let's say you want to disable this. You don't want it. Pinch, swipe to the right, and simply uncheck the briefing screen. Go back home, and now the briefing is gone. And other things you can do, if you pull down, what happens is you get a notifications panel, which is right here. You also have a quick settings panel to which you can swipe left or right to get even more options. Now, there's really something really nice about these options. You can customize these options. So if you don't need the flashlight to be right there, you can move the flashlight. If you don't want the Bluetooth to be there, you can move the Bluetooth. To do that, all you do, go back in here, click Edit, and that's going to bring the edit screen for the quick settings panel on the top. And then from here, you can grab anything you don't want, and you could push it down. Okay? So that disappears from the quick settings pane. If you want something, you just grab it, and you drag and drop it right over there. If you want to rearrange something, for example, the flashlight, which I love to use sometimes, you can grab that, you can push it to the first position, click Done, and if you take a look at it now, flashlight is in fact in the first position, and power saving that I just added is in the last position. So that's the quick settings. Also, when you first power on your phone, you're not going to see the flashlight, so make sure you go into Edit, and you pick the flashlight from the bottom and put it to the top in case you need a flashlight every now and then. Here's how it works. You just tap it, untap it, tap it, untap it. Now, another thing a lot of people don't know is if you tap and untap these settings, they just turn stuff on or off. What you can do is you can long tap them, press and hold, and that takes you into the detailed options of each setting. Alrighty? So as you can see, if I pull this down, if I want to go into the Wi-Fi settings, I can press and hold, and that takes me straight into the Wi-Fi settings from which I can do more configurations. Now, Samsung is also customizable. It comes with a theming feature. So if you pinch your screen, at the bottom it says Themes. If you tap on Themes, it's going to take you to the theme store. Well, not the store, but the selection screen. And from here, you can pick any one of the themes that you download from the store. Now, you can go to store by tapping the store icon. And from here, you can purchase or download any theme. Some of them are free. Some of them may cost you a couple bucks. But so if I wanted this one right here, I would simply tap download from the store, and that's going to start downloading that particular theme, and I can go back. Now I'm going to be in the space. I got pink, I got default. You can click more, and you can get some help if you need to. But let's change the theme really quick and see what it looks like. If I tap space and I click apply, this is going to change the entire theme of the entire phone. So there you go. So this is a new theme, the space theme, and everything looks different. Okay, if I pinch, looks different. Go to messages, it's going to look different. Even has some custom voices. So when I tap the icons, it makes certain space noises that you may enjoy. I don't know if you can hear them because it's so the microphone is so close to my mouth that it may not pick up the noises here. But let's go back out. And again, if you go back to settings, go to personal. This is another way to access it, just so you know. Tap on themes, and you can go back to default. And here's the one. Let me just go back really quick. There's the one I just downloaded, okay? But I'm going to keep it at default. And then you can go right back to the real original theme Samsung comes with. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the unlock screen. So basically, if you go into settings, and if you go to personal, and if you go into lock screen and security, what you can do is you can change the screen lock type. If you have it set to swipe, you're going to get some options that you're not going to get if you have it set up to a PIN number. So with the screen lock type enabled to swipe, which means all I have to do is swipe the screen, unlocks it. I can change the unlock effects from a water droplet to a sparkling bubbles. Alrighty? And then I can also do some show information. If you go into show information, you can enable dual clocks, weather, and owner information that shows up on the lock screen, And here you can write anything that you want, as you can see. So I just left Saki Tech to be there. Now if I go in and out, you're going to see Saki Tech at the bottom here. Swipe to unlock. Now if I were to put a PIN number, just as an example, 0000, 0000, what's going to happen is that unlock effect option is going to actually disappear. Okay, this is still going to be here, but the swipe effect is going to actually disappear. So just be mindful of that. If you want the pretty unlocking effects, make sure there's no security enabled on your cell phone. And of course, as you guys know, the S6 has a fingerprint scanner which works flawlessly. So if you go into if you're on the same screen, just go to fingerprints. There we go. So when you go in, you can add multiple fingerprints if you want to. So you can add your thumb, your index finger or whatever. And then you can use your fingerprints to sign in to certain websites and also to verify your Samsung account. Alrighty? So, and then you can come back here and you can use the PIN. You can change your lock screen security to fingerprint, so every time you tap your phone, it just unlocks it seamlessly. Now, another thing I want to show you guys is if you go into settings, what you can do is, as you can see, for here you've got a bunch of different tabs. You got connections, device, personal, system. You can add one more tab that is fully customized. So all you do is you tap more and you click edit quick settings, and from here you can basically choose the settings that you use a lot. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, data usage, and then just go right back. And what that's going to do is that's going to add a primary tab right in the beginning saying quick settings. So instead of going through the tabs and trying to look for that one setting, you can simply go to settings and immediately access your most used settings via the quick settings screen. You can also disable this if you don't want it. Go back into more, click edit quick settings, and just uncheck all the options. If you uncheck all the options, edit quick settings tab disappears. Now if this phone is too confusing for you and you want something much more easier, Samsung allows you to have what's called an easy mode. So if you go into settings and if you scroll over to personal and then tap easy mode, from here you can enable easy mode and you can choose whichever easy application you want to be on the easy mode screen. So all these applications here are going to show up on the easy mode screen. You click done and this is what you get. Okay, so all these simple applications, no fancy customization, just quick access to applications that you need. And if you go back into settings, of course you want to disable that. So go to personal, easy mode, standard mode, and click done, which is my primary choice. Another great useful feature is if you go into settings, it's kind of obvious, but here's a search function. So you can tap search and you can search the settings. So if I'm looking for lock screen settings, I can type in lock, and that's going to take me to lock screen and security, which we just talked about a couple minutes ago. Now, if any one of you guys know what S-Voice is, it's very likely that you don't like S-Voice. If it comes enabled, here's how you can disable and bury it forever. So go into settings, scroll to device, go to applications, scroll down, here's S-Voice, tap it, and make sure that it's actually enabled, disabled I mean. So voice wake up is disabled, this is disabled, everything, just turn that off, and you don't have to worry about S-Voice for a long time. And if you want to re-enable it, you can come back and re-enable it if you want. Alright, so another tip. So as you can see at the bottom here, you've got some capacitive buttons. So in the middle you got the home screen, over here you've got the back screen, the back button, and over here you've got the multitasking button. If you tap this multitasking button, you can switch through applications that are in fact currently running. So what if you want to customize these LED lights that are behind these capacitive buttons? You go into settings, alrighty, you go to device and you tap on sounds and notifications. Oops, I'm sorry. You go to display. So when you go to display, at the bottom here, you see touch key light duration. So right now it's enabled, so it's always on. You can also have it always off, so they never light up. Alrighty? or you can have them light up for 1.5 seconds and then turn off immediately. Alrighty, or you also have the option for 6 seconds, or you can do always on, which is probably going to be eating your battery, even though I personally enjoy this feature. Now when you plug your phone to a charger, what happens is the LED light on the top, it stays on, so it's showing you that your phone is charging. Even that can be disabled. Now if you go back, again in device, sounds and notifications, if you tap that, if you scroll all the way down, you can turn the LED indicator on or off. So in this case, it's not going to light up if you're charging your device. But if you want it to light up, you can just simply turn this on. Every time you plug your device in or put it on a wireless charger, it's going to make sure the LED light on the top here is going to light up. Next up, some of my favorite options again. If you go into settings, if you go to system, from here, go to battery, and this is your battery manager. What I like about this battery manager is if it tells you how many hours you have left before your battery dies based on how you have been using your phone. So I have 52% battery life, and approximately based on how I have been using this phone, I have only 5 hours to go. So that gives me a clear idea of when I'm going to be losing my power, so I can plan ahead and maybe charge the device accordingly. Over here you also have the display battery percentage meter. If you uncheck it, the meter on the top disappears. If you check it, you'll see it says 52%. You also have the ultra power saving mode. So if you have a really low battery life and your battery is about to die, the phone's about to go, but you still need to text people and call people, this is what you need. If you don't have access to a charger, you simply enable the ultra power saving mode. Your phone goes to a black and white mode. It turns off every fancy feature and leaves you with the most basic things like calling, messaging, internet, and even tells you how many hours you're going to be able to sustain based on how many percent of battery life you have. And once you're done with this mode, you click more and turn that thing off. Alright, so the next tip, if you go into settings, go back into system. Now this time we're going to go to storage. Now that was the battery manager, this is the storage manager. From here you get a lot of useful information. So here it says how much total space you have, how much available space you have, and also shows you how you've been using your space. So if I tap on used space, it's going to go in and give me some more details, pictures and videos, audio and applications, how much space each of those categories is actually taking up. And one more thing, if you are low on storage, you can always scroll down and tap on cached data. So here I have 459 megabytes being used by cached data. I can tap this and I can simply click delete, and that's going to clear 459 megabytes of space that I can use for other things. And while we are managing our phone, let me go back. I'm going to show you one more thing. So go back out here, and this time scroll over to where it says connections, and then tap on data usage. Now from here, you can actually set mobile data limits. So if you have 2 gigabyte plan per month, you want to make sure you do not go over that. So what you can do is you can tap set mobile data limit, and then you're going to see a red bar, and then you can move this up or down to change the limit of how much maximum data you want to use. And once your phone hits that, it's going to shut off the data connection so you don't go over. So in my case, I'm going to get a warning at 2 gigabytes. You can change that as well. You can change the warning. So you can get a warning initially at 1.5 gigs, and at 4 gigs, it's going to turn the data off. Okay? And I can reduce that to 2.5 as well, whatever I want to do. There's also another option here. Your phone uses a lot of background data when you don't even know it. It has to refresh the weather, has to refresh some other live applications and whatnot. So you can actually tap this more option and restrict the background data. Click OK, and as of now, background data has been disabled, so I'm not wasting data without my knowledge. Now let's say you want to re-enable it, which you can do. If you scroll down, you can touch to remove the restriction. So tap and hold, touch it, touch, and that's going to disable the restriction. You can also disable the restriction from here. If you click more, you can restrict or unrestrict right from that more icon. Alright, let's go back into the camera. Now as you know, the Samsung Galaxy S6 camera is amazing. You've got a lot of different options that you can play with. If you go into camera, The first thing I want you guys to understand is if you tap on the settings, you can change the kind of video that you record using the rear camera. So if you tap this, you have a full HD option. You also have a smoother video option. It's still full HD 1080p, but it records at 60 frame rates per second, giving you a much smoother video that looks lifelike. So if you go there, it is going to disable some of the options that comes with the camera, but it's worth it if you know what you're doing. So now every time I record a video, it's going to do 60 frame rate per second in 1080p, giving me a smooth video experience. And of course, you can go back in here, tap that, go back to regular HD, or you can pick any one of these options. You can do QHD, or you can do 4K. UHD means 4K, so you can pick that as well if you wanted to. Now, I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but Samsung Galaxy S6 actually comes with wireless charging capabilities. And in the back here, what I have is I have a wireless charger. So all I do is I grab the phone just like this, and I put it on the adapter, and it starts charging the phone. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link in the description below. That's going to take you to Amazon, where they have a selection of wireless chargers that are really cheap and really good. So you can go check them out really quick. Now, a couple things you get with the Samsung phones is multitasking, alrighty, and also what's called a pop-up window. So if I go back to the multitasking view, you're going to see this symbol on some of the cards. So a messaging application can actually be part of multitasking. So all I have to do is tap that, alrighty, and then over here at the bottom, I can scroll around and I can pick any other application like the memo, and now I have multi-window view. I can be working here, alrighty, or I can be working up here at the same time. And with the keyboard, you can change the keyboard so it's floating on the screen instead of popping at the bottom here. So tap and hold this microphone icon, tap this, and now you got a floating keyboard that you can have anywhere that you want. Okay, so if I'm typing something here, I don't have to cover the screen. Okay, I can put it up here and just go continue my work, and then I can pull this down, go back here, and write a message. Okay, so that's the multitasking view that you can have. Additionally, you can have what's called pop-up window. So if you tap the multitasking pane, again, if you see that symbol, the two rectangles, you can tap and hold the screen just like this, and that's going to create a pop-up window for that specific application that you can actually, let's move around. Okay, tap this circle on the top and X out, or even make it full screen if you tap the right button. So that's multitasking and pop-up window options. Another good feature, if you have a Bluetooth device that you connect to your phone often to listen to music, you can tweak with some sound settings. So if you go into settings, go to sound and notifications under device, you can go into sound quality and effects. If you tap this, from here you can have sound alive plus option or tube amp option enabled, but you can't do it unless you have a Bluetooth device connected to your phone. So if I try to enable this, it's going to say sound effects only available while connected to a Bluetooth device. But this is an option if you listen to a lot of music on an external Bluetooth device using your phone. Now, if you go to your phone and if you go into your dialer, what you can do is you can add a speed dial to each one of these numbers except for one, because one goes to voicemail. But you can have your brother on 2, your girlfriend on 3, your best friend on number 4. How you do that is, if you go into contacts, just pick any contact that you want, click more, and say speed dial, and then just pick the number you want to assign that contact to, number 2. There we go. And then if you go back to the dialer, press and hold 2, and that's going to dial your speed contact that you assigned over. And as you can see, you can have up to 9 of these guys. Now, instead of pressing and holding, you can also tap on the actual number, and it brings up the contact that was assigned to the speed dial. Now, I just want to let you know, you can have hundreds of speed dials. You don't have to have one. The only first 8 you're going to be able to tap and hold to call, okay? But you can have a speed dial on number 11 as well. Here's how you do that. Let me show you real quick. If you go back to that contact, more, speed dial, and as you can see, you can add a contact to number 28. So if I go back out there, pull this thing up, if I type in 28, AES will come before anything else. So that's how you can have more than 10 speed dials. You can have 100 if you wanted to. Now here's a customization tip. If you go into settings, if you go to device and go to display, you can go to font, and from here you can change the size of your fonts. Main text will look like this, and you can also change the style of the font. So it's going to say main text will look like this. And once you click done, it's going to change the entire scheme of fonts on your phone, on your entire phone. So let's do that real quick. And now wherever I go, I have those nice pretty fonts waiting for me. And one more thing, if you go back to the phone, right, and if you just go to contacts, what you can do with each contact is you can swipe to the left to message them directly, or swipe to the right to call them directly. So if I go like this, it's going to launch the messaging application. Let me go back there. If I go like this to the right, it's going to start calling that person. To enable or disable this option, all you have to do is go to more, settings, and make sure swipe to call or send messages is in fact enabled. And a couple other options you have here, if you go into settings, and if you go to personal, and if you go to accessibility, what you have here is you have 3 options at the top here that you can play around with. Let's go into vision. In the vision, you've got a couple things. You can go to grayscale mode, so your entire phone is now black and white, if that's what you like. And you can also do negative colors. That's going to invert the entire scheme of colors on your phone to give you a different experience. Alrighty, and then if you go back out here, if you go to dexterity and interaction, you can actually have a small assistant menu pop on your screen. So tap assistant menu, enable it, and you'll see this icon. And this icon will be everywhere. You can move it anywhere you want. If you tap it, you can access all the functionality that it offers. So if you tap here, it takes you to the home screen. If you tap here, it brings up the multitasking pane. Tap on it again, go back to home screen. Okay? And then you have more options. You can go to menu settings from here. Okay? And then let's turn that off, because I don't need it really. Go back into settings. I'm going to show you one more thing. Under personal, accessibility, go to vision, and you can also have a magnifier window enabled if you want to. If you tap it, enable it, this window is going to go with you everywhere. You can use this window to hover over things, and it's simply going to magnify what you're trying to look at. Alrighty? Disable that as well. And one more tip I want to show you guys is this is when you're charging your phone. So I took a screenshot, even though the phone is not charging right now, I took a screenshot when the phone was being charged. So as you can see, it was enabled to fast charge, and it tells me how many minutes left until full charge. So you can always look at these stats to get more information, and this kind of information is usually useful. Now one more tip, if you launch any app, as long as that app is enabled to work with the pop-up window mode, you can swipe from the top, and that's going to create a pop-up window for that particular application. And then you can take this, you can move it around, you can tap on the circle, maximize it, or tap on the circle, you can even minimize it, and then you can take this and you can put it anywhere on the screen as long as it is compatible with the pop-up window mode. And of course the whole point is, if you can put this aside over here, if you need it, you can tap onto it, it'll come right up. And when you're done with it, tap the circle, X, and it's gone. You can do the same thing with things like calendar, calculator, so you get the idea. And of course you can have multiple icons floating on the screen. So if I have the calculator right here, I can minimize this, at the same time, I can have this. So I can have this here and this here, just in case I need them for quick access. Another really, really cool feature I want to talk about is called the private mode. So let's go into settings, and let's go to personal and go to privacy and safety and go to private mode. And then enable this mode. And it's going to ask you to pick or put in your PIN number. So if it's the first time you're enabling this, you're going to have to pick a PIN number. Alrighty? Now, what it does is you can go to any of these applications here, like the gallery application, and you can privatize certain images. So let me go to gallery application, and here's the private folder that only shows up when you enable private mode. It disappears when you disable it. Okay, so let me show you why you want to do this. So if you go to camera, let's say I want to privatize this picture right here. I click more and I say move to private. If I go back out, now my private folder has two pictures, as you can see at the bottom here, these two guys. Okay, now if I go back out, let's say I want to hide this so nobody else can see it. I go back out, go back into settings, privacy and safety, private mode, turn it off. Now when I go back into gallery, very smart feature, that private folder is gone. It's not deleted, it's just disappeared. So how do you re-enable it? You go back in, go to privacy and safety, private mode, turn it on, put in the PIN number, and that's your security right there. You put a PIN number to protect the private data. Click done. Now it says private content available again. So if you go to gallery, here's your folder. So the pictures you can hide if you turn off the private mode. But to hide them in the first place, you have to turn it on and put the pictures into the private folder. It sounds a little confusing, but it's very logical. So I hope you guys can actually understand what I just did. Now there's two ways that you can take a screenshot on your Samsung Galaxy S6. The number one way is to tap the home button and the power button at the same time until it takes a screenshot. Number two, you can go to settings, device, motion and gestures, and from here you can enable palm swipe to capture, which is simply this thing right here. You swipe your palm from one side to the other, and it's going to capture the screenshot, which didn't work this time, but it works most of the time. And while we are here, this is also other options you have here. You have motion gestures, and you have a total of 4 gestures you can use. And to get information on each gesture, for example, direct call is going to show you up here what it does. Okay, smart alert, swipe over, and that's going to show you what smart alert does. And you can also do the mute. You put your phone down on the table like that, flat, and it's going to mute the phone. When you pick it up, it's going to unmute it. You can continue talking. That's a nice feature. So if you're on the phone, you're talking to somebody, and then you're like, hold on 1 second. And then you take the phone, and you can put it on the table, face down, and it mutes the phone automatically. So when you pick it back up, it unmutes it. You can continue talking. Now you can also customize the vibrations on your phone. So if you go back to the main screen, settings, and scroll over to device, and go to sounds and notifications, tap vibrations. From here you can change the vibration intensity, okay, and the pattern. So you can have a basic call pattern, you can have the heartbeat pattern, jingle bell, tick-tock, whatever. And you can create your own pattern if you so desire, just so you know. And as you can see, you can disable or enable vibration for keyboard input, or also if the phone is ringing, do you want the phone to vibrate as well? You can make that change right here. And of course, if you want to know everything about your device, what you can do is you can go out to settings and go to system, go to about device, scroll down, tap on the build number 7 times, and what that does is it enables what's called developer options, which is a secret menu with a lot of options you probably do not want to play with unless you know what you're doing. Okay, just so you guys know.